So, you've discovered spirituality. You have classed or labelled yourself as being spiritual, and you're upon an awakening journey. What does all this mean? What does it mean to be spiritual? What does it mean to be spiritually awoken, to wake up, to break free from the matrix? Before I actually share with you the description of what it is to be spiritual and what it means to be awakened, allow me to introduce myself and share why I am qualified to bring you this information. There is a lot of people at the moment sharing a lot of information. It doesn't mean it is wisdom. Wisdom is information actualized. I have gone upon the inner journey of discovery. I've walked through the darkness to discover the light on the other side. I am a spiritual teacher and an inner completion master by trade, by profession. I'm a mindfulness expert, a meditation teacher, and this is why I'm able to bring you this information. I have done the work myself, I have walked the journey, and I am very, very excited to have you join us. As the more of us that awake to the truth of who we are, the more that we expand the consciousness of the collective of humanity, the more that we liberate and raise our vibrational frequency, and the more that we are then able to experience that life of pure bliss, wonderment and joy in this moment of now. You left home, heaven, source, pure bliss and harmony and connection to all, to come here to experience separation, to remember who you are in completion and reconnect back to that truth. It is all an experience, like a game of hide and seek that you play with yourself. So, spirituality is an understanding of something greater than the self. You could say that the ancients that worshipped the sun were spiritual. They had an understanding of a force of nature, a force of elements of energy that was separate to themselves, outside themselves, that was greater than themselves. To be spiritually aware is to know that everything is consciously created, that at its core there must be a creator, a God, source, as everything comes through conscious creation. To be spiritually awoken means to accept that there is an element outside of yourself that you do not understand egoically, and then to separate from an egoic attachment or desire to understand and just to accept it as it is. To accept life, including all of the unicorns and rainbows, as well as all the hardships and turmoils, as part of the adventure. To accept the complete picture, to know that it requires darkness for the light to shine in. And it requires those stormy days of life if you ever wish to experience the rainbows. So, on my spiritual journey, it was going into complete darkness, which allowed me to then actually discover the direction the light was coming from. We are born into a system that is designed to divide and control us, to pit us against each other, to actually fuel any sort of egoic understanding or non-understanding of situations and other people, to create that divide and conquer concept. All isms stem from the ego and its non-understanding of situations. What the ego does not understand, it condemns. And what it does not understand, it will try to defy and destroy if necessary at all costs to remain the mighty ego. I used to be 18 stone of muscle and anger, fueled by my ego with the desire to achieve or be seen as a certain pillar of projection that I had created myself. Yes, I'm confident, I'm strong, I'm able, I am a man. Yes, watch me beat my chest like a man. Yes, I am male in form, but I am masculine and feminine in quality. And any time we separate anything, any form of who we are, any form of somebody outside ourselves or within ourselves, we are creating conflict. Everything is about unity, and it is that united aspect which brings the awakening process to life. So upon my journey, listen to this and actually picture this in your mind and relate it to your own journey, to your own life, so that you can see the benefits of everything you had previously experienced bringing you to this point now. Okay? It is just like the Matrix, and once we realise that we are the one, the only one, once we realise it is actually one that is the magic number, not three, once we realise that there is nothing outside of ourselves that is not a representation of what is within, once we realise that we are the universe itself, experiencing itself, that we have separated from source to come and experience separation simply because we are able to. Because why not? If you existed in the light always, you wouldn't have a real understanding of what it meant to exist in the light without experiencing darkness. Love is a beautiful concept, and by experiencing the separation of it, it is that much more beautiful. So, picture this in your mind's eye, and your mind's eye being your third eye, being your ability to see clearly that which your human senses cannot, being able to see outside of the construct of the matrix of this 3D realm, knowing that you have everything inside of you that you will ever need to be able to not only follow your dreams but achieve them in all ways. Take a deep breath in a moment. And out. And join me, connect with me. Life was like walking around in a foggy maze. I wasn't sure where I was going, what I was doing, or who I even were. It's like being able to see a little bit in front of you, having an understanding of where you want to go, but not really being able to see which direction to take. Walking around in a foggy maze, trying to venture or reach the destination, which is the light, was almost impossible, as the light is dispersed within that fog. Everywhere is kind of light, but there is no understanding of which direction it is coming from. Most people, to get to a point of egoic death, egoic separation, go through a very deep and traumatic trauma of some sort. They go into deep rest. Depression is a form of deep rest. You go into that very deep rest. And when I went into my deep rest, it was the most excruciating and void experience of my life, but it led me to this point now, and it is the most beautiful gift that I was actually given. To experience depression changed my entire life in such a fundamental way that it is something that I would gladly experience again, even though I was completely separate from any form of emotion, good or bad. Depression is a very weird state of existence, but in that darkness, after giving up, after stopping to be, to do, to achieve, to be seen as anything in any way, just didn't care anymore. And I lied there in the darkness and gave up. And by stopping, which is the most important thing that we can do upon that journey, stopping to appreciate our surroundings, to appreciate where we are, stopping to actually take note of the wildlife as opposed to it just being a blur of colour. Walking a journey, walking a path, going on a walk, if we run it, we don't actually appreciate the surroundings. If we walk it, we get to sense what we're walking past, but we don't fully connect to it. When we stop, with meditation being what I will discuss momentarily, when we stop and really appreciate, really connect, really absorb our surroundings, we realise that we are not separate to it, but we are part of it. We connect back to the eternal, forever expanding consciousness of the universe, realizing that we are not only a droplet of water that is part of the ocean of existence, but that we are the mighty ocean itself. So, upon going into the darkness and stopping and giving up, and then starting to look about, after a while of sitting there and licking my wounds, I was like, whoa, what's that? In the darkness, was the first time that I discovered the direction the light was coming from, and I ventured towards that light. A journey through the maze with a better guidance system, being guided internally, being magnetized like two magnets being drawn together, the light within me drawing to the light outside guiding and drawing me home to it, as me being drawn and guided back to it, to itself, to myself, to itself, to ourself. I am a version of you, as you are a version of me, and we collectively are all that was or ever shall be. Universal energy dancing rhythmically and playfully and majestically in this beautiful game, this play, this film that we call life. And even scientifically, they can't deny that this is right. So, upon my journey towards the light, I took the path of least resistance, guided by my internal compass, skipping playfully along the way. And I came to a door, and I realized, stood at the outside of this door, that this door would lead me to liberation, a connection to the truth of who I am, inner completion, an integration of all parts being brought back into the self, knowing that there is nothing outside myself that is not part of me, knowing that the darkness and the light exist side by side and actually in completion, as the yin and the yang do. And just as the yin and the yang complete each other, complete themselves, complete the one, so too do all positives and negatives or perceptions of them exist within me. The door required a key, so I ventured back into the maze to discover the key. And the key was at the centre of the maze, at the centre of me, just as it is at the centre of you. And this is the fundamental basics to all of my teachings. It is love. It's always love. Whatever the answer is, whatever the question is, the answer is love. Whatever the answer is, in truth, if you go all the way to the depth of it, it's love. Love is the answer. It is love that is the key, a key that will unlock a door deep within and set not only you, but the whole world free. It's always love. Return to the heart center. Connect back to who you are, to rediscover that which you are missing. All forms of separation, all forms of limitation, all forms of defiance are self-created. If you perceive yourself to be negative, then you create a barrier of worth, of potential, of experience. By returning to acceptance, which is the first actual aspect, the first key, we can then go on a journey to love ourselves. So recently I have released a third weekly installment on the Cosmic Surfer YouTube channel. Tuesdays is modern day mindfulness, and I have created a series, the 5 Steps to Freedom, which is included or housed within a very powerful and life-changing online course. All links to everything that I will discuss will be found in the comments below. This course will change the entire fabric of your reality, as it will change your view of who you are and your placement within reality. Wherever you believe yourself to be in society, wherever you believe yourself to be as an aspect of reality, is all egoic. You've been told that you fit in a certain way because of where you're born, the colour of your skin, the sex, etc., etc. If you carry this forward with you through life, that will be all you will be. Spirituality is to become aware that you are more than this body, more than the thoughts which take place and are experienced within it, more than the emotions which flow through it and that you experience. An emotion is energy in motion. Everything is energy in motion. You are energy in motion. You are the universe experiencing itself. You're an emotion of the universe. That is the touching point towards the depth of understanding of who you really are. Five Steps to Freedom houses within it a very powerful series of videos. They are all very expansive. They are all about 45 minutes to an hour long, and it takes a massive amount of dedication to yourself to discover everything required to integrate it into completion within yourself, to unite back to all that is, to liberate yourself from the shackles of illusion which separate you and define who you are if you do not break free from them. Fear being the biggest one. Fear isolates you, alienates you, and separates you, not only from yourself, but from others. Again, it is love that is the answer. Love that is the key. That key that will unlock that door deep within and say, "I only you, but the whole world free." So, returning to the 5 steps, acceptance being the first of all. You have to accept everything you have experienced in completion, everything you have done in completion, accept all the negatives, integrate them back into the self, realizing that they are not negative, they are positive. And just as you were brainwashed, taught at school to be a nice little unit, a obedient little sheep, another worker bee, another cog in the wheel, another person in society, you are required to re-educate yourself, which takes a lot of dedication and awareness. It takes a lot to go on a journey of discovery that requires so much separation from who you currently or used to egoically believe yourself to be. The spiritual awakening journey, you will end up alone. Is one of the processes, is part of the process. You return to who you are, you end up alone. So in the awakening, it is venturing into very deep meditative states, which I will take you upon, very beautiful inner journeys. They're all housed on the meditation channel, Mainstream Meditation, which is dedicated solely to transcendental and transformational meditations. So we remove the old layers of perception, we remove the masks of illusion, and we do so through discovery of information. Click the link below to sign up to become part of the family, part of the club, and I will send you a very unique and personalized course, a spiritual survivor kit. In this is a series of videos that will explain what it is to be an empath, the ego, how to override it, or how to actually compromise with it as opposed to trying to destroy it, because whatever you try to destroy will dig its heels in for existence. You don't try and destroy something, you actually come to a compromise with it and then use it to benefit you. We can't take anything away. Energy cannot be destroyed. And in the work I do with my clients, the inner completion work, the integration of all aspects, I never take anything away. I add further information to reprogram those limitations of old. So, you go for an experience, you believe it to be a certain way and that you have been affected negatively by a certain person. Oh no, something happened to me. Life happened to me. You're a creator. Everything you experience is a creation. Everything is consciously created. That is the fundamental of existence. It's all free will and it all governs and is attracted and experienced through the law of attraction. These are the 2 most important laws to pay attention to. Whatever you vibrate at, you attract. You tune a telly into channel 2, it will pick up, broadcast and show you channel 2. All channels are in the airways around it, always ready to be picked up and broadcast. If you tune it into channel 2 and you don't like the picture, change it to channel 4 or whatever other channel you wish. If you're tuned into limitation, lack, negativity, anger, frustration, denial, whatever it is, tune yourself back into love. It's the foundational aspect of all that is. Love is the foundational vibration of the universe. And from love, we can build a world of true equality for all. You hold the remote control. You can choose which direction to focus your attention, as where your attention goes, your energy will then flow, and what you focus upon grows. Picture your mind as a garden, and within it there are weeds and flowers. You plant the seeds of positivity, and you water them, and you grow them, and you focus your light of attention on them. The winds of life will always blow weeds in, because it's part of reality, it's part of existence. If you flip a coin 1,000 times, it will land equally heads and tails. Life's going to suck as much as it is blissful and joyful. Is the acceptance of those shitty days and actually using the shit to benefit you. So when the weeds drift into your garden, if you focus your light of attention on them, you will grow them. If instead you focus on the flowers and then take that shit of life, dig it into the flowers and use it as fertilizer, you can grow your flowers even bigger and more beautiful than you could have done without that shit. And they will overgrow the weeds so that you cannot even see them. There will always be weeds. Focus on the positives for now until you are ready to actually go about removing the weeds right from the very root, right from the very core of their existence. Only then will you be free from limitations in completion. But again, when we remove something, it is just a reprocessing concept. To go back to an event of old, a trauma, and free you from it is to go back and to reanalyze that situation with all of the information you have now from a higher perspective, so that you can go about bringing a better understanding from it and all the learnings required from it. It then becomes a positive instead of a negative. The weed you can then see as just another life form, a beautiful flower, a beautiful plant that actually is part of reality, and appreciate it for what it is. Don't rip it out. Don't try and deny it. It's part of reality. Who decides it's a weed? Your ego does. Accept it for what it is and you're free from it. Okay? So, ego is the first step of acceptance, accepting that you have an ego, accepting that all the forms of limitation and defiance and denial, the fears, they're all ego. And to accept all that is, that's the truth. So, upon my journey, and the reason that you will become lonely in yours, is that I used to be broadcasting myself as a certain frequency, which was separate to the truth of who I am. Allow me to explain it in colour. It is all to do with vibration and frequency and energy, but let's say that it's colour, because it's the way I was shown it, it's the way I was gifted it by Source. I'm purple. I grew up trying to please certain people and painted myself in a certain image in order to be accepted and liked by them, to try to actually gain a feeling of love from them. This is what we do with our caregivers, with our parents, with those around us. I ended up trying to be red when I was purple and ended up like a muddy brownie colour. I went through life like this, and there were people that could accept me as that version, and I could resonate and connect to them in whatever way that it was. When you awaken, when you take off your egoic mask, no longer trying to please those around you, you start to shine as your true self. You can see clearly. Just like looking through the eyes of a child again, where everything's exciting and wonderful and wow, an adventure, an experience to be grateful for. You can breathe clearly. Realizing that the air that is within you is the same air that is outside you, that with the breath that you bring in, that fills your lungs, brings the life force, pranic energy into you, and as you exhale, you return that whence it came. That you're always connected to the air outside and inside, that there is no separation of the two. And you can hear clearly, starting to actually pick up signals and clues. Anytime you hear that ringing, knowing something you've just experienced to be true, knowing that your higher self is guiding you, that your guides and angels are with you. The awakening process is not an easy one, but anything that comes easily is not worth experiencing. It takes an element of dedication, of acceptance, to walk that path alone through the darkness. As to become enlightened is to exist in a state of acceptance of everything in completion, doing so from within the light. But in order to live within the light, first you must walk through the darkness. Discover the parts of yourself that you have lost and fragmented and placed away in the darkness. Every time you experience a trauma of old, you take that part of yourself, put it in a box and put it in the dark. You don't have to experience it anymore. You're protecting yourself, your subconscious mind is, from that trauma. Yeah, great. But you're also limiting yourself to be able to experience all the learnings from that event. So, you walk through the darkness, you integrate all parts of yourself back into the self, and then you become complete on the other side. Then you go through a journey or a process of full acceptance, the good, the bad and the ugly within me and it's outside. Anytime I want to control or change anything that is, I'm in defiance of reality as it is. I'm in defiance of the universe. I'm in defiance of God. And the acceptance of the word God is part of the process as well. I used to hate God, the word God, because it was used as a form of control and enslavement. God is existing inside me as I am that myself. I am the creator of my reality and all that is within it, just as you are. And I thank you for waking up to this truth and going on a journey of discovery for everything that is going to befold. I'm creating a How to Love Yourself series. So on the channel, on the Cosmic Surfer channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, share this information with anybody it may assist, and watch the complete How to Love Yourself journey. Take you on a journey of acceptance, removal of guilt, acceptance of other people and what they have done, because any time that you hold judgment or anger over anybody, you're holding it over yourself. There's nothing you do to another you do not do upon yourself. To look at somebody in a way of frustration or limitation is to do that upon yourself. There is a series of videos that are very, very powerful and will change your entire life. And it will take you on a step-by-step process to discover how to love yourself. As only by fully accepting yourself can you then start to love yourself, can you then unconditionally love yourself. Only then can you accept in completion everybody else, love them and unconditionally love them. I love everybody unconditionally. Doesn't mean that I agree with them consciously or egoically, but I accept them as the aspects of reality they are and for fulfilling the roles within existence that they do. The universe is full of darkness and chaos, and we find that balance and harmony within it to be able to experience this beautiful and blissful journey that we call life. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go back and watch the series of videos all about the ego to start with, and head over to the Mainstream Meditation channel to ensure that you gain access to the meditations there. I will also be releasing a How to Meditate, a very, very beginner's guide to meditation, as most of the content I create is very in-depth, very deep, very transcendental. Trance-like meditations that take you on astral projection journeys. But to start with, you need to ground yourself, you need to protect yourself, and you need to be aware of your potential before you start to travel off too far. As if you go too high too quickly, you can become lost. This can be very detrimental, and it can open you up to all sorts of weird and unusual experiences. Keep hold of the steering wheel, knowing that in truth, although you are journeying on that boat, on that ship, and you can steer the vessel in whichever way you desire. When the winds of life blow you, if you try to deny those winds, sailing against them, you will become stuck. If you go with the flow, then that is the true meaning, the true way, the true excitement in the journey. You never know what's going to take place. You just experience it for the joyful experience it is. Thank you. Truly, truly thank you for waking up, for joining us, and for doing the work required. Head over to the website to gain access to all our free courses. Make sure that you have entered your email address to gain access to the Spiritual Survivor Kit, and subscribe to the channels. Also, there is a weekly podcast, Midday Mindfulness, the spiritual podcast, where we introduce some very, very unique concept with some very, very beautiful and wise guests. Now and forever, we are in this together. United we stand, and together we rise. Grand rising, all you beautiful souls. And until next week, until next time, until the next episode, I love you. Namaste.